Have you been playing ranked play and dreading all those control games you get? Well, this video will give you an in-depth look on how to play control in Modern Warfare 2 ranked play. I will be going over everything about this game mode, from offensive and defensive strategies to late game decisions and when to and when not to play your life. If you enjoy this video or style of video, leave a like to let me know and comment which game mode you want me to go over next. We will start the first section of this video with a basic overview of the game mode. Control is a fairly new game mode in Call of Duty and saw its introduction in Black Ops 4 in 2018. Since its inception, the game mode has remained pretty much the same. There is an offensive and defensive team each round. The goal of the offensive team is to capture both the A and B zone before the timer runs out or kill the enemy 30 times. The defense has to stop the offensive team from capturing the zones and let the timer run out or kill the defensive team 30 times. The timer on each round is a minute and a half, stopping anytime the offensive team is capturing a zone or the zone is contested. This timer gets an additional 1 minute added if the offensive team captures one of the zones. For example, if the offensive team captures the A point with 45 seconds left on the clock, they will now have a minute and 45 seconds left. Capturing points in Control is also very unique. Like Domination, the more players actively capturing a point, the faster this will occur. However, each control point has 3 segments, so to fully capture a point, the offense must capture all 3 segments. Once one segment is captured, it cannot be uncaptured by the defense. Teams play to the first team to win 3 rounds, and if a 5th round is needed, the team that captured the most segments, or commonly called ticks, will have defense, as defense is seen to be the easier side. If the amount of segments is also tied, then it goes down to which team has more kills. The final unique element of Control is that there are set spawns for offense and defense, which when a player knows can be used to their advantage. This also takes out the element of flipping spawns that exists in Hardpoint. Now that we have gone over the basics of the game mode, let's now hop into effective defense in Control. Learning how to play an effective defense on Control is critical to winning more. On most maps, the basic concepts are the same. Have your AR players hold power positions that players on the offense must cross to get to the point they are attacking. Have your subs either get in the face of the attacking team on a point, or have your subs push towards the spawns to keep your enemies on their toes. By having your subs pushed up on the map, this will benefit your team in a few ways. First, they are more likely to get kills by catching the offense off guard or out of position, and usually they can find a spot that will give them a large advantage in a one-on-one gunfight. Now, if both subs were to die, pushed up, the defense is still in a good position. Hopefully they took at least one of the offensive, or maybe 2, down with them, or made a few of them weak. This will allow your AR players to easily pick off the remaining offensive players coming out of spawn. Additionally, if they were to push all the way up to the control point, by the time your subs spawn back in and get back into the fight, the offensive team will not have enough time to correctly set up a good hold. Now, this is a very basic setup, but let's show you how this would work on Fortress Control. Alright guys, so here we are on Fortress Control, jumping into what the normal setup would be. So right now I'm going to run over to the fortress here, so it's kind of like I'm coming from the defensive side. So you're always going to want one AR on this heady right here to watch anyone coming out of stables in that entrance. They could also watch top maps from up here, or bottom maps. Now you'll want another AR probably in these double windows, especially if they're hitting A, as they'll be able to watch anyone coming out of gates and help out on the A point if needed. Now, they alternatively can jump up on these trucks here if A is already captured, or if they're going after B. They can catch anyone coming out of gate or anyone in top maps and that cross over to B from the offensive spawn. They could also jump over here in these areas to get different lines of sights, but generally they'd be wanting that double windows or in that back truck. So now this is where your subs are going to want to push up to. So you're going to want one sub in top maps roaming around here somewhere. They could sit on the stairs here, or sit on those boxes to the left, right in front. They just kind of want to be mixy, get in their face. Don't let them get out of spawns, especially through maps, because that's generally where you're going to want to push through. Now, they could also roam bottom maps here, watch the crossover to A. And yeah, sometimes you'll want both subs running up here and getting all up in their face, but sometimes you'll also want one of your subs over here on the A point just to watch them from coming on here, especially if they're pushing A. They could just sit out benches, or they could sit out on A, and they could even get on top of benches just to give a little off angle, get them off guard. But yeah, so you generally always want someone in the windows, sometimes on the truck here, and you definitely want your subs and maps over here just getting up in their face. So yeah, that's your typical defensive hold on control. That's what one specific control setup looks like, but they're all similar with a few differences. So now you might be asking, well, what do I do in this or that specific situation on defense? A few main categories pop up that I will run through. The first is, what do I do if I haven't seen anyone in a while or I feel like I'm not helping my team? Well, first, you should communicate with your team on what angle or spot on the map you are holding, and if you should pick up something else, or listen if your teammates are saying that one part of the map is getting crazy and they need help. If this doesn't solve it, then check the minimap and see if you are on a spot that your teammate is already holding. Now, if you go over all of this and still think you're an important part of the map, then stay there. Players may be set up to influence spawns and can feel like this sometimes. So just be aware of what you're doing on the map and if it's positive for your team, and continue holding your position. You also may just be overlooking a point to see if they're going to A or B. Continue to hold your point too, as long as your teammates don't need help at the other point. The next situation on defense is retaking a control point. At certain points of the match, the offensive team may gain control of a point. This could have been caused by a few reasons. Defensive players could have died, or the offense could have slipped through a hole in the defensive setup. So there are a few things to consider when retaking a point. First, look at the time and lives. If the defense team is low on lives and still have both points to defend, they should probably not throw too many players on the retake. This would be to conserve lives to defend the second point and win the round. In this situation too, if the defensive team kills all the offensive players not capturing the point, they can rush the player on the point and keep the clock moving. Now, if an offensive team gets on a point with only a few seconds left, in almost every situation, the defense should rush the point and get the offense off the point to win the round. There are many other situations on the defensive side that they might find themselves in. So my biggest piece of advice is to communicate what you're doing and execute as a team. This will give you the best chance to know where you are and where your teammates are as well. I would also recommend watching the CDL to see what pro players are doing and how they are setting up. A good way to see this in depth is to watch The Flank, hosted by an ex-pro called Zuma. So this wraps up the defensive side of control. Let's move into the offensive side. Now, moving into the offensive side of control, it can be much harder. I like to break offense into 3 phases: the opening, 2 points, and 1 point. In the opening phase, the offense is trying to get kills and expose any weaknesses in the defense. This can be done instantly or deep into the round, but simply the offense must gain map control towards one of the 2 positions. Once the offense is able to move up map, or they get a 3 or 4 down, they can attack one of the 2 points moving into phase 2. During this point, the offense must have at least 1 player, but 2 or 3 is preferable, on the point. An SMG player should be pushed up into the spawn of the defensive players to spawn them far away and kill as many players pushing the point off spawn. Hopefully this will allow the offense enough time to capture the first point. Once the first point is captured, the offense must now transition into the second point. If the offense just got a 3 or 4 down, they should rush quickly to the next point to get there before the defense can set up. Now, if they did not get a 3 or 4 down, they should begin to push slowly. There has just been a minute added to the clock, so they can send a player or 2 on the flank to set up a pinch on the defense setup and to get the second point. Now, once the offense gets map control or on the point, it would be the same setup as capturing the first point. Now that was a perfect offensive round, but sometimes you will not have a good round on offense. If you're being spawn trapped or held off from a specific point that you want to get to, try sending a player or 2 around to the side of the map that you do not intend to go to. This will hopefully draw out the defense of their current setup and open up the map for the players currently trapped. Again, like defense, there will be other situations you will find yourself in on offense. But again, watching pro players and communication will be the 2 best ways to improve on offense. That wraps up the offensive side of control. Closing up this video, I want to make one more comment on control. It is the most delicate game mode on the competitive scene. Only 1 or 2, 3 or 4 downs can change the course of an entire round, so as a defense, you want to avoid this, but as an offense, this is what you want to play for. Time after time, a team's final push on offense are successful, so there is something to be said about needing to be extremely clutch in this game mode. But on that note, I will wrap up the video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and leave any other tips or questions you might have in the comments. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.